Hey Fondant, today we're making this adorable spring gnome from start to finish. Grab your fondant and let's build it one piece at a time. We'll start with the body, creating a simple base that everything else will attach seamlessly to. Next is the left leg and foot. Keep the proportions short and chunky for that classic gnome look. Now we're going to repeat the same steps for the right leg and foot so both sides match. Okay, now for the shoes. We'll start with the main shoe by creating the green shoe part, and then we're going to add the white upper sole. Take your time here. The little details really make the shoe stand out. Now let's add the gray ridge sole underneath to finish the shoe. If you need a closer look at any part of this process, don't forget you can always pause and replay this section as many times as needed. For the arms, we're going to use one piece of gray fondant. Roll it into a sausage shape, cut it in half, then taper one end of each piece. Just like that, you've got two matching arms ready to attach. And remember, there's no need to rush. Work your own pace. If you need to see a step again, simply pause or replay the section as many times as you need to. For the hands, we're using one small circle of green fondant. Cut it in half to create two little hands, then attach them to the arms. For the sleeves, roll out a piece of green fondant and cut it into strips. Wrap each strip just above the hands, then repeat the process on the other side. If you need a second look at any of these steps, just pause or replay the video and work at the pace that's comfortable for you. Next, let's add the thumbs. Roll two small balls of green fondant and attach one to the inside of each hand. Now don't rush this part and resist the urge to make them too big. Size here really does matter, and getting it just right will make your finished gnome look much more polished and realistic. Now let's add the sleeve trim. Roll a small piece of white fondant into a very thin roll. Then cut it in half so you have one piece for each sleeve. Attach that trim at the top of each sleeve to give it a clean, finished look. Now be careful not to make the trim too thick. A nice, delicate trim will keep everything in proportion and look much more polished. Next is the beard. Start with an oval shaped piece of white fondant and pay close attention to how I'm shaping it here. One of the most important things is getting the thickness right. You don't want it so thick that it won't lay naturally, but you also don't want it so thin that you can't add the hair texture in sculpting. Use your fondant tool to create these details, checking the size several times throughout this process, just like I'm doing. Be patient with this step. It takes a little extra attention to get it just right. And if you need to, don't hesitate to pause or rewind and watch this section again. Let's start the hat. Start with a piece of green fondant and roll it into a triangle shape, just like you see me doing here. Recheck the size several times before attaching it so the hat fits the body and beard correctly. This is one of those pieces where the fit really does matter. Next, roll a small piece of fondant into a smooth ball for the nose. Feel free to use whatever skin tone you'd like. Position the nose so it sits just underneath the brim of the hat. Before moving on, take one last look at the placement of the hat and nose together. Those little finishing adjustments make all the difference. Now let's finish shaping the hat. Use your fondant tools to reshape it and add details just as you see me doing here. This is another crucial part of the process, so don't rush it. The small details are what gives your gnome so much personality. Check the fit and shape as you go, making small adjustments until you're happy with what you've done. You know, I'm a firm believer that having the right tools really makes a difference. They help you create cleaner details and a much more polished, finished look. Look into getting some really high quality tools that'll help to make your figures and your creating easier. The tools that I'm using here, or the tool that I'm using here, is a PME Dresden tool. PME Dresden tool. Also, never underestimate the power of your own hands. Some of the best sculpting I've done have been using my own hands and my fingers as tools. So never underestimate the power of your hands and your fingers. Now for my absolute favorite part, the dusting. This is where your gnome really starts to come to life. I use petal dust to add shadows, dimensions, and highlights, creating that beautiful 3D look I love so much. Build the color gradually. You can always add more, but it's much harder to take it away. If you're wondering which petal dust I use, you'll find them linked in my Amazon storefront. Next, I'm adding a little flower accent that I made using a silicone mold. Now, it's not one of my molds, but feel free to use whatever you have on hand. This is where you really get creative. Add a different flower, a bow, another embellishment, or even leave it off altogether. That's the fun part. This little gnome is yours to make your own. Be creative. As you can see, I changed my mind halfway through the process. I originally planned to use two of the little flowers, but decided one was all this little gnome needed. Don't be afraid to make changes as you go. Sometimes less really is more. Throughout this entire project, I did use plain water as my adhesive. It's simple, effective, and works beautifully for attaching all of these fondant pieces. Feel free to use edible glue, piping gel, or whatever adhesive you normally use for your gnome. To finish the nose, add a tiny dot of white edible paint using a balling tool. It's a simple little highlight, but it gives the nose a nice polished look. And just like that, your spring gnome is complete. I hope you enjoyed creating this little cutie with me today. If this tutorial was helpful, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with another cake artist who might enjoy it too. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, ciao ciao for now. Peace.